Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I don't even know if people still say that anymore. Well, today I have decided to start a scripting tutorial series for pretty simple things ranging from beginner, intermediate and advanced concepts. And today's project is a simple, basically, notification system. Alright, to get started with the simple notification system, we're going to want to head over to the service known as Starter GUI. The service is a client-sided service that basically holds everyone's player GUI. So to get started, we're going to want to start with the screen GUI. Basically all GUI are inside of this for any big game, So we're going to start with a frame. And basically a frame, you can't really add text or anything to it, but you can change the color, transparency, etc. And we're going to add a small modifier to this. We're going to add a UI corner modifier to this. I'm a horrible UI designer, and I'm giving tips about UI, but I guess that's what this has come to. But yeah, we got this frame here, right? And we're going to want to add a text into this, right? So we're gonna want to notify the player of something, right? So what do we want to notify the player of? So let's put a text label into this. And this looks kind of ugly, so I'm going to make the background transparency 1. And the text can just stay blank for now. And we can change the font of this to Fredoka 1. This is basically a really popular one in most games. And we can change the size, maybe, we can make the text scaled, which is the easiest way to make this scaled. Let's make this a scaled GUI. So basically how this is working right now is this is on offset, not scale. So basically what that means is when you resize your screen, it'll stay basically where it is, so it won't shape with the screen. A good way to get around this would be to change these values to this value here. So the first value, as you can see here, it's scale. Change that to offset. An easy way to do this is use a plugin called Jacob's GUI Tools. I'll link that in the description. And basically all you have to do is you have to select the GUI you want and you have to click offset to scale. That way, now whenever you scale this down, look at that. The thing scales down with it. But as we see here, this thing is still on offset. So we're going to want to also change this to scale too, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to come back here. We're going to click on the text label, right? And you can do this with any UI element. And you click offset to scale. And boom, there we go. It stays in the center for most of the screen. So that's one step. And yeah. Alright, so what we're going to do next is we're going to have to hide this on the screen. So either we hide it or make it transparent. I'd like to hide it so you guys can basically prompt it and make it look a little bit nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the position for this, right? And we're going to have its original size saved right here. So we'll move this to the side later. Alright, and the next thing we're going to want to do now is we are going to want to create a module script. So basically what a module script does is it's an object-oriented programming basically facilitator that helps you call multiple functions multiple times from anywhere in the game. It's a pretty simple definition. There's a ton of uses for it. Though for this situation we could use one if we're making something complex, but we're trying to make something simple, right? So we don't need that for now. So what we can do is we can add a small block. And from this block, we want it to say maybe if a certain condition isn't met, then we want to, notify the player, right? There's a lot of situations where we can do this. So to do this, we're going to click plus here and add a part, or you could just click on the top thing like that and add a part like the way I did. Let's add the object called a click detector. Oops, bad spelling. A click detector, and basically what this does is whatever part this is parented in, we'll basically give it an option to be clicked. So, for example, now if I play the game, and, oh, where's my part? Now if I put my mouse over it, oh, look at that, my mouse changes symbol. And basically, this signals that I have an option to click and something could happen, right? So basically, now what we have to do is add a function onto this, and, when we click, we want something to happen, right? So, let's add a script into this. Let me zoom in for you guys right here. So, what we're going to want to do is first define the click detector, right? And the way you find paths in ROBLOX is using periods. So if we can say click detector, we're going to say script.parent. So script.parent basically takes the script and finds the parent of it. And if you guys don't know about parent and child, it's a pretty easy concept. You guys can look it up on YouTube, anywhere you like. It basically just means, though, in simple words, the child is basically something that's inside of a parent, and basically you can access that by saying script.parent. So script.parent would mean the script that we're in right now and its parent. So the script here and its parent is part. And we're gonna say dot click detector, right? So now that we've reached this part, we're gonna find the click detector, right? So where is the click detector? Well, we know that the click detector is a child of the part, right? And since we do it, and since I did dot click detector, that's basically the syntax for finding the click detector inside of the part. So now we want to see what happens when we click the part, right? So we're going to say click detector dot mouse click, right? And this is called a function. And basically what we're going to do from here is we're going to connect this. So whenever you want something to happen, whenever a function happens, you're going to say :connect. Roblox does have an object browser. Give me a second, I'll find it. Yeah, right here. And basically there's a ton of different, objects and functions and, a lot of stuff you can look up here, right? But if you look here and you say, I think you have to search up the word click. Let's see here. Click detector. Yep. When you click on click detector, you can see all the functions that are part of click detector, right? And we know we use the mouse click, right? So if we find this, oh, this is really small. Oh, right there, mouse click, right? So this basically is a function, and basically what this does is it's listening for when the player clicks on the part, right? So we're going to say click detector dot mouse click, and we're going to connect that to a function. So you can type out function like this and put 2 parentheses, and do that. And if you just click enter, an immediate end sign would come up, right? And basically, you can also define functions like this. You can create them using local, so local function. And then you can name it. So let's say on click, meaning that's what we want to do on click. We're going to add a parentheses here, and this is going to pass an argument, right? So arguments basically, they're like parameters, and what they do is, using the info here, you can modify some of the stuff inside the function and return a desired output. So in this situation, this function here, if we go back here, right? You can see event mouse click instance player who clicked, right? So if we come back here, right, we go back here, we say connect, and instead of saying function like this, we could say on click, right? And basically what this will do is, since this will return the person who clicked the thing, right? When it'll listen, first of all, it'll first listen to who fired the mouse click function, and it's also going to tell you the instance of the character, so who actually clicked in their character in game. And it'll put that into a parameter, right? So instead of saying function and like this, oops, function, and then we say player who clicked. See, it's right here. All this does is by adding on click, we are going to immediately pass in the player who clicked parameter. So I'm gonna write this player who clicked. All right, cool. Now, from here, what we're gonna want to do is we want something to happen, right? So in Roblox, there are 2 concepts. The first concept is called the server, and the second one is a client. At first, like to a beginner, it may seem pretty complex, but once you learn it, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, it's super easy, right? So as you can see right now, I'm in a client. So when we think about it, a big picture, think of it this way: the server is a giant room filled with people, right? And the client is each person inside of that room, right? So basically, what happens is, if, for example, an event happens on the client side, not everyone will see it, right? Only that one client will see it. So you might have played some of your favorite games and you were like wondering, if something's happening on my screen, is it the same thing happening on everyone else's screen? And the answer to that is no, right? So that is a client-oriented event, or whatever happens there, right? And if you click here, we can actually go into a test mode. This is the server, so whatever happens on the server, every single person in the room will be able to see it. So if I move this part, say I move it behind my player, right? In actual time, the part has moved behind me, right? But if I were to move this back in front of me again, I'm pretty sure... Oh wait, never mind, I forgot, sorry, my bad. On an actual client, not everyone would see the part move forward. It's just in Roblox Studio, it's just like that for some reason. But yeah, the point is, if you modify something on the client, it will not affect everyone else on the server, right? If you want everyone to see something, then you're going to want to change it on the server. And that's the difference between scripts and local scripts. Local scripts are run on the client, and scripts are run on the server. So yeah. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to connect, right? So we want to have basically an event that fires whenever you click on the part. So we're going to go into replicated storage. We're going to add a remote event. So basically, what remote events are that they're just a bridge. So think of it like a bridge that connects the server and the client. And once the server and the client are connected, you can share information back and forth. There are some safety concerns, as in like vulnerabilities that do come from using remote events, especially from just directly giving access to the client. Like if client has access over server controls, that's something you don't want to happen, and most developers will prevent that. But this is a simple tutorial, so we're not going to think too deep into that. So we're going to add a notify. So this remote event is called notify, and just like before, we're going to want to start really broad. We're going to go game.replicated storage, which is the service we're looking for, and we're going to say .notify because that's the child of replicated storage. We're going to say :fire, and we're going to say fire client, right? If you want to say fire all clients, that means all clients will see a certain event happen. And basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to fire a player object. So you're going to say game.players. So this is just a method to get a player from a character. Get player from character. And then we're going to say player who clicked. Alright, boom. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to have something that's listening to this, right? So with any remote events, remote functions, there's always going to have to be something on the opposite end that is listening for it. So we're going to put a local script, and remember these are client scripts, right? We're not going to want to put a server script here. Actually, a general rule of thumb would be use local scripts for starter player and starter GUI, and use server scripts for server script service and workspace. And yeah, so basically now we're going to want to listen to that. So we're going to say game.replicatedStorage.notify .onClientEvent::connect function. Alright, and oh yeah, one important thing I forgot, we also want to make sure we know the text that we want to set, right? So let's put a comma here, and as a second argument we're going to pass the text. We're going to say hi there, and that is going to be our text. Alright, cool. And we're going to have so since we're on the client already knows who you are, right? So what will happen is if you're passing it from the server, you're not going to the first argument here is not going to be the player and then the text. The actual thing is going to be just text because the client already knows who you are, right? And yeah, so now what we're going to do is we're going to want to access the UI, but before that, let's test if this works. So we're going to print client reached, and let's play right here. Alrighty, so let's click. Oh, must be a player object. Get. I think it's. Oh, I did the wrong way. Whoops. We're gonna say game.players : we're gonna say game.players. So this what happens is in the players thing, when you join the game, your name will pop up here. We're gonna say game.players : find first child, which means find the thing, or find a string value. So you pass in a string value and it'll find, like the string value is a name, and it'll find something within whatever you want to find, or whatever you're looking for. So we're gonna pass in player who clicked dot name because this is an object, and this should work. Let's hope. And boom, there we go. Now we got client reached, and this will not have printed on the server. So you see how it's blue right here? Blue means it is on the client, so only I have seen this message, right? So whatever event happens, only I'll be able to, see and react to it. So yeah. Alright, so back onto the client, what we're going to do is we're going to go and say, oh, I just cracked my knuckles. We're going to want to first reference the frame, so let's first find this thing, right? So how this works on the client, we can't just say, the screen GUI that we're trying to find is in starter GUI and screen GUI, and just try to, add periods and just keep going down like that. It doesn't work like that on the client side. On the client side, you have to use basically the player GUI storage. So if you go to players, you can see there's a thing called player GUI here, right? And basically, if I were to, let's say I were to modify this, right? So let's say I have a text label here, right? and the text here says like Apple, right? On the client, this won't do anything, right? But if you were to come here and then change this here to Apple, there you go, it changes its text, right? So what we're going to need to do then is we're going to need to access that. So we're going to say local player equals to game.players.localPlayer. And you can only use this on the client side, right? Because the client always knows who you are. Then we're going to say local player UI equals to player.playerGUI. Then what we're going to say is we're going to want to find that frame that we're moving in and out, right? So we're going to say local frame equals to player UI, right? We're right now here, and we're going to say player UI, which is the starter GUI. In this case, we're just using this as an example, but this is what it would look like. And we're going to need to find first child, and we're going to say screen GUI. All right. We also could have done dot screen GUI, right? But it is better practice to keep it as find first child just in case it doesn't exist. And we're going to find first child again, and we're going to go into text label. All right. Oh, whoops, we're going to go to frame. My bad. And there we go. That is the frame. Now, what we're going to want to do here is, before we do all of this stuff, what happens is some people have really fast computers, right? And sometimes these scripts run before the thing is fully loaded, like before your client is fully loaded. So as a good practice, you're always going to want to keep a repeat test out wait here until player, because it might prevent any bugs that could occur in your code. So yeah, there's that. So alright, good. We have the frame now, and basically all we have to do now is we're gonna have to move the frame, right? So in Roblox, if you look at a part here, there's a position, right? And this position is in a C frame or in a vector 3. In this case, it's in a vector 3. Position is always vector 3, by the way. Rotation, orientation, those things involve C frame. This is a vector 3 value, and you move it like this, right? In Roblox, it's a little bit different. You use udem2, which is a new kind of thing. I think it's, let's see if I can find it here. I doubt it's here. Yeah, it's not here because it's not an actual object. So basically what we're going to want to do here is, first of all, actually, let's make sure our text is being, we know what the text is, right? If the text is even being passed. Find first child. Yep, there we go. You see that? So what we're going to want to do is we're going to say player colon, let's see, no, find first child. Oh, then we're going to say repeat task dot wait until player UI. And this is to prevent any bugs from happening. Oh, this is still player.player.GUI. Alright, so we are probably going to need to find a new approach to deal with this error. Instead of using 2 repeats, this seems a little bit ineffective. What we're going to want to do is we're going to say, instead of find first child, we're going to say wait for child. And the main reason I didn't want to use this the first time is because many people overuse it, and as a beginner, you shouldn't be using a ton of wait for childs. Wait for child basically means if you're unsure on whether or not the thing will load in before you join, that's when you would use it. But yeah, other than that, you should be using find first child or the period to access things. Oh, there we go. And when you click the thing, it'll print our text. So that's good too. Alright, now what we need to do is we actually need to move the notification. So that's the biggest part right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to say the frame position, we want to move it to whatever position it is down here, right? So actually, let's move this a bit. Oops, let's move this a bit to the side. Let's keep this like right here. We're going to want to move it right here, right? And then we want it maybe to like disappear after like a second or so. So what's the position here? So let's copy this position and just keep it commented here just in case we need that later. And on the X, let's move this. Let's see, which way is increasing? I want to look at that. Alright, so good. So when you move it this way, it's getting closer and closer to 1. So let's set 2 and it'll disappear off the screen. Right now, where it is, the frame's actually on this side. It's just so far off you can't even see it right now. But yeah, it is still there, so don't worry about that. Now what we're going to want to say is we're going to say frame colon tween position, right? and we're going to say udem2.new. So this is the position you kind of want it to lerp to. So in with the part, you might have heard of the tween service, in which the part can reach another property smoothly, right? And in this case, with frames, you use udem2 to reach sizes and positions. So we're going to copy this, right? And we're going to want to get rid of these table brackets. We don't want these. So there we go. And now we got that. So it will now tween position all the way to its basically it'll tween position all the way over to here, and it'll look a little bit smooth too. So we'll go like that, and oop, there we go. Now we want it to basically show the text and disappear, right? So what we're going to want to do is, to prevent this from looking a little bit weird, we're going to already have the text put onto the frame before we kind of position it, because if someone has bad internet, I mean, you'd have to have really bad internet and a really bad computer for that not to load, but just in case, we're going to want to change the text first. We're going to say frame. Let's actually create a variable, so local text label equals to frame : wait for child text label. And this again, this is something you wouldn't actually use wait for child. You'd actually use find first child. Even I make this mistake sometimes. This is because the second a player joins the game, they're not going to immediately click this, right? I mean, they're going to immediately click it, but they would have fully loaded in before they clicked it, right? So we don't need to use wait for child for this. Unnecessary, and it could cause potential yields. And basically, we can change this text label dot text equals to text. So this is the same text that we did pass in from the actual server script, which is hide there, right? And we're going to move the frame. That's good. Now what we're going to want to do is, we want the thing to kind of become transparent, right? So how do we do this? Oh, also one more thing. Since players might be doing multiple different clicks, we might, instead of having the frame just be one frame moving back and forth, we could add another frame with a UI list layout that's a little bit more advanced, and add multiple frames into there, so it can kind of give you that scrolling effect, right? But for now, all we need is the text to change, right? So it's fine if the thing's already there. Now we're gonna wait task.wait 2 seconds, right? Or we can, let's make this cooldown, and you guys could change the cooldown right here equals to, let's say 2, and then we're gonna want to tween position it back to where it was before, which was 2 right here, right? And boom, there we go. That should be finished. Alrighty, and we click this. Oh, there you go, hide there, and it goes away. You can do it multiple times if you'd like. And if you spam click this, it'll just stay longer, a little bit longer, not too much, just due to the recursion. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like more super in-depth explanations, hit that like button, and yeah. Thank you.